Hello everyone, this is Diane. I can't believe that the day is finally here when I get to show you my cleaned and organized craft room. I know I have done a video of this room before, but there are some different things in it, most notably some shelves over my sewing machine. But I've also removed some units that I had in here, believe it or not. It's pretty packed full right now, but I did remove some things and because I've been doing a lot of destashing. So I don't know how long this will take. I might have to do it, if I go into detail, I'll have to do it in several takes. So let's just get started. I'm standing in the doorway, entering my craft room, and I'm going to turn and close my door, and right here is a closet. So I will back up. I have an apron hanging on that thing there for when I do mixed media. But there's a shoe organizer there, and it holds my punches, some of my punches, and just a couple other things. Mostly it's punches, but there are some paper flowers in there that are white that I can color. I rarely use flowers, so I don't need a large amount of them. And just mostly punches. And inside here, I have my wooden stamps. I used to have wooden stamps in here, and also down here in the corner where those rainbow drawers are. But I got rid of an entire tower of drawers. It's dark in here, so I bought this at a kitchen supply store at the mall, and it's got a magnet. So it sticks there, and I can turn it whichever way I want. And it really helps a lot when I'm in here looking for stamps. Up here, back in the corner where you can't see, I have a box of Christmas stamps. Up here is just some collage stuff, my little books and index cards that I collage on, my smash book supplies and things that I need to smash, and my smash books are all right here. I need to put something on this that is solid so that the things don't go through the grid thing. There's a flashlight there if I need it. There's my glue gun and glue sticks, which I never use anymore. Those were for other craft projects. And this is an old recipe box that just holds some extra tags, I think. Tags and index cards. Like plain ones that I need to decorate, but I already have a stash out here, so I don't need them out here. Over here, there's the first stack of wooden backed if I can talk, wood block rubber stamps. Here are my Spectrum Noir markers and some coloring books, which I never use. And see if this helps. So I just labeled my stamps because I had, done a restash and reorganized them. So these are all labeled with different themes of stamps, different categories. I have design and ornamental in here, which is a large drawer. I used to have corners and borders separately, but everything is in there now. I have music stamps, background stamps, botanical, collage, flowers, people and animals, and vintage down there. In the middle, I have a wastebasket, which I have rolls of paper in. There's some wrapping paper, like these Simplicity ones. And this is craft paper from Michael's, or Hobby Lobby, when it was on clearance. And mulberry paper and colored vellum and things like that, which I need to get into there and use it more often because I don't. And then over here is my little bucket that I use for sewing my books together. I take it downstairs and I sew my signatures into my books. And scraps of cardstock, colored scraps, and my daughter put that googly eye on there. Colored and neutral. And then I have more stamps. Scripture, words, fantasy, which is just mermaids, little dragons, aren't they cute? Fairies, and Wizard of Oz. masculine journaling stamps, sentiments like what you'd use in a greeting card, and alphabets and numbers. So that's the closet. I hope I'm moving slowly enough. All right, moving down, I have this tower. So I've got this nice set of wooden drawers, which are nice and shallow. The two bottom ones are deeper, but I can keep my some of my paper pads in these drawers, and I can easily access them. I have my little boombox here. This is just a little tray that has metal things, charms and things, and I've labeled them as to what type of charms are in there. And then these three drawers are full of luscious vintage doilies, crochet bits, and they're pretty full, as you can see. I have them semi-organized. There's a lot of filet crochet in this one. And these are the littler pieces that I can use in collages. And then up here, I just set this little tray up here that has digital calling cards. So I have them all cut out, and I didn't have a place to put them, so I put them in that little tray, which is just a Staples shipping tag container. And then I have this set of drawers which has vintage tickets, vintage stickers, and bridge tallies and bridge score pads. In here I have paper doilies, and then these are just scraps of manila cardstock that I use to make ephemera, and more scraps of papers and more scraps. I think I really need to organize them and maybe condense them. I didn't do anything with them really when I did the organization. And I did recently, you know, just for the journals I'm making right now, I got into this drawer and used some of the manila scraps, but it's still full. Then in these drawers, this one has vintage magazines and catalogs, but I've torn apart all the magazines. The only thing left that's together is an old catalog, but I have a lot of pages in there from my vintage Spiegel catalog too. This has Tyvek, it has grunge board, this clear stuff, acetate, and some vellum, but mostly it's Tyvek. These are the smaller pads, so I have 6x6 pads and 8x8 in here. And more smaller pads. These are, I don't know what size, 8.5 by 11, I guess. And then just some more smaller papers. And then we get into the larger cardstock. So just some of the cardstock, pattern cardstock, and then more. And more. And then music. And this was full. This was full to the top. But I've destashed a lot of music. Vintage music. I can't put anything here in this spot because I have an outlet there that I need to access. And right now, what you see glowing there is a little potpourri, a wax melter. So I just have some wax in there, making the room smell good. But there's enough space to put 3 of these plastic boxes from the craft stores. And these boxes contain my vintage stationery, my wallpaper, and my gift wrap. And then in this envelope is some more wallpaper. I have a lot of wallpaper. Then I have my white bookshelf. Up on top, it's just kind of miscellaneous. It's got my library catalog card blank, my flower bags, vintage flower bags that I got at the flea market, and my vintage ice cream carton boxes that I got at the flea market. They're there till I figure out what to do with them. Also, I usually put my patchwork paper up there. I only have 1 sheet left. And in this large envelope are some vintage paper doll paper dolls and paper doll clothes. And then up here, sorry, I think I just made you dizzy, is a large envelope plastic container of calendars. Most of my books I've taken apart. I just needed to make room. But I do have a few books that I didn't take apart. And this is a bunch of like architect drawing paper. It was on a roll and I've cut it up. These are all fly leaves out of books that I've taken apart. So I've saved them because they're usually nice quality. This is a tin that was given to me by my friend. It's a Hummel tin, and I have a few Hummel cards and things in there because I will make a Hummel book journal that will fit in this eventually, and hopefully put it in my shop. I'll get that back in there when I have two hands. Then I just have some botanical books up here that I didn't destroy yet. I've taken pages out, but I didn't completely take them apart. So that's all these are, botanical books. Edith Holden. I have two of the Victorian Flower album by Henry Terry. And then a couple of the little field guides. These are the covers from my uppercase books that I get, and I just love the covers. I'll do something with them. And this is a journal about books, and in this is just a bunch of quotes that I have that I need to glue into this journal about books. And up here is the glue book that I made with the Gina, the Rebookery series that I did on Finding Your Style. And then these are just a bunch of books on art, watercolor, or drawing, or art journaling and stuff like that. Okay, now maybe I'll sound a little more normal. My head was tipped back so I could see my camera, my lens. All right, so now I have some plastic drawers. These are large pieces of paper up here, too large to fit in anything. Some of them are large ledger books and architecture books and papers and things like that. So in here I have some vintage sewing bits. A lot of it is wrappers off of trims and bias tape and stuff. This one has Viewmaster reels and vintage card type of things. This is just miscellaneous vintage stuff. Calling cards, real ones, cigarette cards, vocabulary cards, and bird cards. And these are vintage mailing labels. And all of these drawers contain vintage ledger paper and things like that. Yeah, just things like that. Over here, I have a set of these books, Memories of a Lifetime, that have a lot of images I can cut out. And just a few other books that I didn't cut apart. And yeah, just vintage paper. All right, and then down here on top of this, on top of this set of plastic drawers, I have a bunch of the clear photo pockets that I like to use in journals. So I've got a whole stack of them there. This is miscellaneous unflat things, so I marked it miscellaneous 3D. So there's lots of stuff in there. Vintage various cards, milk caps, and coat check tags. I've got some botanical, like seed packet labels in here, and just some vintage label type things, and slides. Up here are my Tim Holtz tissues, collage papers, and then this masking paper from Lowe's. And then this is labels. I used to keep all of my labels in here, but most of the small ones are downstairs now. I should say that I don't have any of my, well, not much of my bits of ephemera and stuff, because they're still downstairs getting organized. So I do have a binder downstairs full of the labels that I print and cut. And there's some in here that are a little bit big. So anyway, these are larger labels. Looks like there's some in there I need to get out. This is Brad's, which I don't use very often. And this is napkins, which is getting too full again. Over here I have some plastic envelopes and containers of books, vintage book pages. So this is nature, children's books. There's some more children's book pages that I just got out of an old book that I got, and I just put them in there. Oh, these are just like the children's reader book pages. Art and crafts and maps. And down here I have this box that has images, pages and images from magazines, whether they're mostly not vintage in there, that I can use for collage. I have vintage photos in here, little mini notebooks and things like that. And what does that say? Vintage tablets and papers. And then over here are the green stamps and things like that. This is just miscellaneous and flashcards, all types of flashcards. Right here is a box, and I have folders in it that contain digital kits that I've already printed. I need to get busy and make journals out of all of these digital kits that I printed. And down here are some more of those boxes. This just has large size pages from books and magazines that I can use in larger journals. And this one has envelopes that have images from books, and they're separated into categories. Like this envelope is all vintage ads, the little ads that you get in the vintage magazines that you can make really cool stuff with. And this one is all vintage, like subscription cards and things like that that you find in old magazines. And the rest are just images cut out of the books. What's this? Oh, I think this is fashion. Yeah, those are fashion book pages. And then I have this little unit here that has little miniature books that I can take pages out of. And then some more of those envelopes with different types of book pages. This needs a little work right there. Again, I have to leave a space there because there's the heat vent. These are something I don't need, but those are my beads. So I really need to do something different. I have all these little containers and I need to do something better. And this is just a bowl out of my kitchen that has bead dangles that people have sent to me, yay, or that I have made and things like that. So that's a ready-made bowl, so I just grab that when I need it. Then I have this unit, and as I said, used to be, oh, I'm getting out of breath from bending down. This used to have a tower of stamps here, but I got rid of it, and so this unit was here. So this was a crowded little area, and I could barely get to my window. So now, here I have, sitting on top of this, I have plastic container with these really nice envelopes that I get from Amazon, and these. And they all have vintage things in them. Vintage magazine or catalog pages. Vintage images, really beautiful pictures that I can use for magazine or for book covers. Some receipt type of things. And I do have vintage ephemera, vintage receipts that are gorgeous, which I'm going to learn how to scan these things and maybe get them in my shop. So I've got a bunch of those. This is just a bunch of vintage, really cool stuff that I find at flea markets, labels and all kinds of fun things. Letters, business letters and personal letters. Railroad ephemera, what I have left of that. More checks and receipts and letters. Just every packet here has vintage stuff, and then I have little vintage greeting cards and note cards and things in those. Then in the drawers, this is just where I keep my wax to put in my little wax melter. And then I have the little pieces that you use in your books for journaling spots. So this is, a lot of them are sticky notes, little notepads, things like that. So those are the little ones, medium and large. So I have a large assortment of those kind of things. And then, oh, got an empty one. That says homemade ephemera, but I've taken that out because I had so much of it. I'm trying to organize it. This says to make ephemera. So these are things I want to make ephemera with. Foreign language, I believe. So I put these in the wrong drawer. These should go in the to make ephemera drawer. Game score pads and vintage receipts and bingo cards and lotto cards. So we did one wall and we're in 20 minutes. One wall plus the closet. Over here is what I refer to as my stamping table or my coloring table, my painting, mixed media, whatever. This is where I do all of that messy stuff. So down here, I have some extra stuff that's just sitting on the floor. You can hear my creaky floor. This box has oversized things that I can use in my large journals. And this box has items that I want to put into my own domestic arts journal. And then those are just boxes with miscellaneous items. There's a little step stool that doesn't belong in here, but I was using it in here. So up there, I can't reach up there without the step stool, but it has empty little boxes up there that they're these kind of boxes that I put my clear stamps in when I need to. So I have extras because I destashed. So I got rid of stamps, so I have the extra boxes. So that's a carousel of markers and paint pens and things and colored pencils. And then in this box is my extra tape and glue and blades. And in here are perfect pearl type of things. And then this is acrylic paints. Another carousel with more tools and my Stampin' Up! Markers. My little bucket of foam brushes. These are my really cool stamps. These are vintage post office stamps. And this one says paid. And this one says copy. Can't see it, can ya? There. So those are my cool vintage stamps. My label maker and some duct tape. This entire row here is baskets of my clear and cling stamps. That's one thing I didn't label. I forgot I need to make labels for the fronts of these because they are in categories so that I can easily grab a box and look through it if, you know, the flower ones should be in there and things like that. I'm going to have a seat here. Here is my Stampin' Up! Stamp pad organizer. So it used to be organized by the 4 categories of stamp colors that they had, but they don't have those same colors anymore. So anyway, it's full and it's got refills up here, and then I have some that I couldn't fit in. There's my paper towels here and my paint brushes and a little corrugated cardboard, and this is my stamp pad cleaner, my cleaner pad. And then this just has my stamps I used all the time. This book belongs to, and my glue sticks that I use all the time too. The story begins, and that's the stamps that I sign. And then in this little box I've got some itty bitty stamps that I don't want to get lost, so I just keep them there. This container has some tall paintbrushes and a ruler. It has my blending tools, my little felt pads for that, my cotton swabs, stamp cleaner, and my blocks are in there. My gun and a little container that spins. I got this at Hobby Lobby, and I have a lot of different tools in there. My blending brushes are in here, my scissors, my water brushes, all kinds of things in there. And then of course my glass mat, my pad of paper, my, I can mess this up and then tear off a sheet and get rid of it. These stamps are here because I'm using them in my current project, so I don't want to put them away. So let's see what's under the table. I'll try to keep my socks out of the way. I know they got in there a couple of times. So here is another tower of paper. These are specialty ones, and I really, really want to get to using these. These are ones that I ordered. So they are Stamperia papers, Blue Fern Studio, Graphic 45, and they're just really nice papers. And then I have some solid, the last three are solid 12 by 12 cardstock that I use usually when I'm using my Cricut. Then down here I have collage stuff. So these are just images out of magazines. Like these are all words. I think those are words too. And then these are just magazine images that I use for collage. I just put my cutter down here when I'm not using it. And then over here I have my Distress inks and Stays On inks. These are the inks I use all the time, and I need to make new labels because that says embossing powder. Yeah, these are all wrong. I need to fix these. So this one is embossing powder. Distress oxides. These are pages I've taken out of magazines that have ideas for doing cards or things for junk journals. And then down here are alcohol inks and the little cups that I use for mixed media. Just a few supplies down there. My wastebasket. Over here I have my mixed media cart. That might end up going on the other side of the table. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it, but it's on wheels, but it's hard to move it because of the carpet. So this just has a whole bunch of supplies that I don't need to go over. There's all my sprays in here, and I went through them and sprayed each one, and anything that didn't spray I took downstairs so that I can work on it, see if I can make it spray. And then some more of my supplies down here, my watercolor crayons and gelatos and things like that. My air conditioner is still in my window. I've got to get my boys here to help me. Over here in this little corner, another stack of drawers. And on top is a basket full of envelopes. There's stickers and rub-ons in here. These are supplies to make cards. I do want to take a couple of days sometime to get a supply of cards made. I did buy what they call Paper Pumpkin. I bought like a 3-month subscription to the Paper Pumpkin from Stampin' Up, and that means every month you get a kit in the mail that comes with an ink pad, some clear stamps, all the supplies you need to make some little cards. Usually it's 3 or 4 different designs that you get to make, and you get to make about 4 of each design. So I only did it for 3 months, just because I knew I wouldn't need that many. Here I've got my Martha Stewart doily punches, where you make, I need to use them. I haven't used them in a long time. Some more art supplies, watercolors and bubble wrap and stuff to make imprints, and some vintage sewing patterns. And then we have my large armoire and my paper storage up there. On top of it, way up there, I have my chipboard that I use for making spines and sometimes covers. And then these are my containers, my folders and my envelopes and things. So these are empty, but they're there for when I need them for storing like the book pages, things that you just saw. And this is a sheet of cork. I need to use that. And this is a container that has tissue paper in it. And I need to label this. I had it labeled at one time, but it's all different now. So I just put labels on the edges. But you can see I have 8.5 by 11 solid cardstock here, some craft papers here, and craft cardstock, time cards. Oh, this is my Italian paper that I got from Rachel at Roxy Creations, and her straw paper. Mulberry paper. This is handmade paper and glossy paper, and this is specialty paper, so it's got pink tissue paper, pink tracing paper and piping paper and things like that. And this is a bunch of paper I got, vintage paper, at a estate sale. These are the cards that come with envelopes that you can make. They're blank, so you can make things with them. I used to get them in AC Moore, and look how many I have. I need to make them, and those are the smaller ones. This has acetate, metallic cardstock, and vellum. So that's pretty well organized. Now in here, I have some hooks on the sides of the doors that I put the larger stencils on. And up on the top are craft art supplies, like mixed media supplies. I've got a whole bunch of art tablets, you know, drawing pads and mixed media paper and stuff that I've gotten on clearance, so I need to not buy any more of that. And just some miscellaneous papers up here, tracing paper over here. And this shelf is all for domestic arts journals, so I'm not going to take everything out. But this box contains booklets and things that I can use in domestic arts, like knitting books and things like that. There's all kinds of stuff. And this is all the kind of stuff that you'll see when I do domestic arts journals. This has, I hit the mother load of vintage, I'm sorry, I know this is awkward, vintage embroidery transfer patterns and things like that. So this is all really cool stuff on that shelf. And then down here, this box has smaller sized papers that I put into journals, all kinds of papers. There's ledger here, journals that I take pages out of, composition books, tablets, and then these two have the larger papers. So this one, and then this one. I used to have them all stacked up like these, but then I saw Marie Kondo saying that it's easier if things are like this, and it is. I can pull things out without having to go to the bottom of the pile and try to get something, but still a little awkward sometimes. Those are the large doilies, and then I have stencils in this drawer, small, medium, and large stencils. I hope I'm still doing okay holding the camera. Sometimes I kind of forget what I'm doing. Down here, I have book covers. Look at all those book covers. So these are the larger book covers that I use for smash books and glue books and things like that. And I did put some of the smaller ones that are just plain. Some that don't have the fancy covers, the fancy pictures on them. And over here is just my jelly plate is here, and I've got some backs of my paper pads and things. I use the cardboard sometimes for different things, and I've got file folders. These are some more large covers that are going to be smash books. And then these are my coils, my O-rings that I use for my smash books. We're doing good, I think. Over here is my printer. There's my tripod. And these are copier labels and the specialty, the acetate and the parchment paper, and then my different weights of printer paper and cardstock and my extra inks. Now this is where I sew. This is my sewing table. And you can see it's just part of my main crafting table. So it's just an extension of it. But over here is where I have all my fabrics and laces and things. And I shouldn't say all, because I'm going to have to do another tour of another room when I get that one clean. It's got other supplies in it. So right here is just a large box that I got at Joann's or something. And it's just got a lot of fabric. And again, now I did this before Marie Kondo. I already had it this way, so I can see exactly what's there. And then here's my tower of laces and things. So this one has some ribbons and the spools that are too tall to sit like that in the drawers. Most of these are from Hobby Lobby, so there's lots of the ruffled fabric and some ruffled ribbon and rosettes and things like that. This one has the Hobby Lobby spools in it, mostly Hobby Lobby. This one has the GIMP. I have a lot of GIMP trim and some blanket binding. And these are some really cool belts that I found at flea markets that I can use. This one has eyelet and some of the large rickrack. Sorry if I'm getting tired, so I'm probably making a mess of this. I spend a lot of time keeping these drawers nice and neat, and I wrap my laces on pieces of card and pin them. And I stick myself on these pins quite often as I'm going through looking for stuff. So there's a lot of cards of lace in there and there. I have 2 full drawers of it. A lot of it is vintage. A lot of this I've gotten at flea markets. And then here are wider pieces and the wide spools that don't stand up. And down here is pom-pom. Some of this is vintage. Might as well stay down while we're over here. This is my sewing table. So down here I just have some of my basic sewing supplies, my threads and rickrack. This is like I had on in the other table. I had magazine things that I pulled out that have ideas, and this one is sewing fabric ideas. Large pieces of lace, and again, large pieces of lace. And then down here is just quilt batting is in here. My sewing kit is there, and there's a basket that has muslin and like a quilt bat. There's extra baby wipes, and there's my coffee dyed paper in those bags down there. And then I sit here and sew. I usually have my tripod sitting right there watching me sew. So this is a project I'm working on. These are laces that I have out that I'm using. And I have my little containers of small pieces of fabric that I'll use often while I'm sewing and put together fabric flips and things. Last night while I was watching TV, I put together fabric flips. So I have a whole bunch of them in here that are pinned together. I just have to sew them. So, and I've got my quilting rulers back here, which I don't quilt, but I use these rulers sometimes. My pinking shears are there. And then I have my other sewing shears here, my pins. All of this stuff is here because these are possibilities to go into the journals that I'm making right now. And these are just the cutoffs and the ephemera that I've made for the current journal projects. Now this is what's new since the last time I did a video tour of my room. These shelves are new. And I bought these baskets at Walmart. And then when I just did my reorganizing, I made these little tags to put on the baskets so I know right what's in them. This is the doll that I just got in a Happy Mail from Elvira. My Blythe doll. So she's going to fall over when I move stuff. This one says braids and boho trims. So that's what it is. It's my 70s braids and some boho trims. Just like what it says. And this one says fringe and tassel. So that's what it is. I have a lot of stuff. Lots of stuff. And this basket is feed sack fabric. This is just a little shoebox type of thing with ribbon, spools of ribbon. And this just has these wooden spools in it for now until I get to use them. This has snippet roll pieces that I've made and lace appliques when I just want something that's an applique that you can actually sew down or glue down like as it is. That's what's in there. This one has vintage velvet ribbon and yo-yos, and these are not the vintage yo-yos that I'm getting ready to put in my shop. but I will be adding some vintage yo-yos into that basket. This is my basket of buttons. So I've got them sorted. These are just specialty buttons, so these are fancier ones. And then I've got a jar of green, whoops, sorry, green. Aren't these pretty? These are at Walmart in the Pioneer Woman section, these jars with the pretty lids, in orange. But most of my buttons, I need bigger jars. These are green and red for Christmas, so you can see they're all divided up. This little box just has vintage appliques that I've gotten at flea markets. And this has fabric strips. And these are smaller pieces of fabric than what's in that other box that I showed you. So this is what I use most of the time. And then I'll go through that larger box and pull out if I'm doing a special theme or something. And I just have too much. This is wide lace, lace fabric, and rosettes. So it's this lace that I used to have in my shop. These are the pieces that I kept. The big rosette pieces, and then lace fabric. These are muslins and solids, and then these are special fabrics like Tim Holtz fabric, and my Corey Dantini fabric is in here, and just special. These I bought a while ago, but I need to make something with them. I love these. I spent a lot of money on these fabrics, and I wanted to make a 1930s country kitchen farmhouse or something, kitchen journal for me to keep. So they're still there. I put them there so that I don't mistakenly use them for something else. I think that takes care of the fabric table. Oh, here underneath this is my little box of silk ribbon and embroidery floss. 41 minutes. My battery's flashing. I'm hoping I can finish this up. So this is where I normally sit. In fact, I'm going to do this in a separate video. We'll do this last so I don't have to feel rushed, because my battery light is flashing and I don't want it to quit on us. So I'm going to stop this, and then I'll probably post it 2 different days. Post the 2 parts of the video. So come back tomorrow to see where I spend most of my time in this craft room. See you soon.